Hey, what is going on, Guardians? Gray here with another Destiny 2 video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the reissued Ikelos Sniper Rifle that we got access to last week. If you didn't know, last week we got access to a new quest from Zavala, which starts the evacuation quest line. It's a very long quest line, takes us to all of the planets that are leaving in September, but in the process, we actually gained access to two new focused umbral engrams, and in one of those umbral engrams is the new Ikelos Sniper Rifle. Now this thing has access to some really unique rolls, some really cool perks for both PvE and PvP, so I wanted to make a video and talk about all of the potential options and what you should be going for depending on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a good PvE sniper, this thing has some really awesome perks that can be very strong and put out some really solid DPS. And as far as PvP goes, a lot of our favorite PvP sniper rifles are being sunset this September, and everyone's frantically looking for a replacement. This is a potential contender. It is a rapid fire frame, so it's not quite as lethal as some of our other options in the Crucible, but there are some really good rolls that can make it a competitive option. I'm looking at it mainly for PvE to use come September, as things like Mountaintop and those staples are going to be going away. And I got my hands on this roll here. I actually have a pretty solid roll, I would say. And I got small bore, tactical mag, 4th times the charm, and high impact reserves with a stability masterwork. I would personally prefer a reload speed masterwork for sheer DPS reasons. But 4th times the charm and high impact reserves have some really awesome synergy we're going to get into a little bit. We're going to head over to LiQWYD and look at all of the potential roles for this gun. So let's go check it out. Alright guys, so here we are over on LiQWYD, and if you don't know, light.gg is a fantastic website that has just a Destiny database. It has every weapon in the game, and you can click on them and see every possible role that you could get on every weapon in the game. It's a very helpful tool, so definitely go check it out, and shout out to the guys who own and operate this website. It is fantastic. I use it all the time. I did a little bit of editing here so I can get all of the information up on screen for you while we go through the roles, but I want to go through each column and talk about what you should be looking for, starting with the PvE role. We have a lot of different options in this first column. Obviously, this weapon comes with barrel mods as opposed to scopes in the first column. And in that first column, we have a lot of different options. I would say on a PvE role for the sniper rifle, it's a rapid fire frame. So things like stability are definitely going to be something you're going to want on this sniper rifle. The more stability, the better, so that you can... It gives it more ease of use so that you're not struggling to land your precision hits, especially when we get into some of our later perks in the end columns. Stability is really going to help us out because landing those precision hits over and over and over again is going to be key to optimizing our DPS. So in that regard, we have a few options. You can have things like polygonal rifling, which gives us plus 10 stability. That would be going pretty full out, just max stability, but it's not a bad option. If you get that roll and you're going for that PvE roll, definitely consider using it. I would go for small bore. This one gives you plus 7 range and plus 7 stability, so you get a little bit the best of both worlds in this with small bore here. There's a few different options that aren't going to hurt you, that are going to give you stability, range, and handling. There's things like you could go hammerforged rifling if you really want max range without any drawbacks, but some of the other perks are going to start to, like corkscrew rifling. This one will give you plus 5 to range, handling, and stability. Not bad options at all, guys. Really, as long as you get something that isn't absolutely murdering your stability or reload speed or anything like that, you should be good in this column. But I would recommend polygonal rifling or small bore. Moving on to the second column, this is where things get a little bit more interesting. There's a few options here that are very important, especially when it comes to our PvE role. We have access to a few different magazines here. We have Tactical Mag, which I am going to say is the best option, but there are a few others that you could, if you get them, you should be happy with them. But Tactical Mag is going to push your magazine size to the maximum. You cannot get higher than a 7 magazine with this weapon. So no matter what you do, even if you were to put a backup mag on, you cannot get above 7 bullets in the magazine. So with that in mind, we have a few options. We have tactical mag, appended mag, and extended mag. These are all going to put us at that 7 bullet maximum for the magazine, but some of them have benefits that the other ones don't have. Extended mag, for example, actually really kind of nerfs our reload speed and drops it down, which is going to affect your DPS. You're going to take longer to reload. You're going to have that magazine size, but I'd say out of the 3, extended mag is probably the worst one. Appended mag is not bad. It's going to push you up to that, again, that max magazine size, but that's all that it does. It'll put you up at that with no added benefit and no drawbacks. So definitely be happy if you get appended mag. I would say the best option is tactical mag, because this again will put you at that max size, but it's also going to give you a little additional stability and plus 10 to your reload speed. So you're kind of getting the best of both worlds in this regard. You're getting that max magazine, extra reload speed, and stability. So if you get any one of those, definitely be happy, but I would say appended mag or tactical mag are your best options. Don't worry, we're going to get into the PvP roll after, but I just want to get through the PvE roll first. The PvP roll looks a lot different than what we're doing for PvE here. And looking at the third column here, we have some interesting options. We have things like 4th times the charm, triple tap, and feeding frenzy. Really, when it comes to the god roll for this weapon, I am going to highly recommend that you go for either 4th times the charm or triple tap. 4th times the charm and triple tap work very similar to each other, where landing multiple precision hits in a row returns ammo to the magazine, and they both function in the same way. It pulls that ammo from thin air. It doesn't reload it from your reserves. So you're actually getting better ammo economy and higher damage output when you have one of these perks, because it's not depleting your ammo reserves. It's generating that ammunition from thin air. I would say 4th times the charm is the absolute best perk, but if you have triple tap, that is not a bad option at all. 4th times the charm synergizes with a perk in the 4th column really well, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit. There's a couple options we can look at here that give us additional damage. Some of them have more ease of use, some of them are very niche, but there's one that stands out above the rest, and that in the 4th column is going to be high impact reserves. Now, this isn't typically a perk that gets to see a lot of sunshine and a lot of play out in the sandbox, because it's people may not fully understand how it functions, and the way it actually works is based on the remainder of your magazine size. As you shoot through your magazine, you're going to get a damage buff the more and more empty your magazine gets. I'm sorry if that's a little bit complicated. Basically, as your magazine gets lower and lower, the bullets will do slightly more damage. When you pair something like this with 4th times the charm, you can get a ton of shots off, and they're all dealing additional damage as you work your way through that magazine. It's a fantastic combination. And with that 7 bullet magazine, you can get up to 11 shots off in one magazine, dealing a very high amount of DPS. And if you have a fast reload speed, or you're on a hunter class or something that will give you a quick reload, you can really get some ridiculous damage output when you have this synergy going for you. We have access to other things like box breathing, but Bungie sort of murdered box breathing a while ago. It only gives its damage bonus on the first shot, and if you were to sit and wait for box breathing to proc on every shot that you take, you're not going to be doing very much DPS at all. It takes far too long for it to proc, and the damage that it does is really not enough to outweigh some of our other options. So it's not bad, but don't be fooled by it. It's not as good as it may look on paper. High impact reserves is definitely what you're looking for here. Alternatively, we do have access to multi-kill clip, which can buff your damage up extremely high, but again, it's very niche. And if you're going for straight boss DPS, there's not a lot of situations in the game where you're going to be able to get 3 quick kills, proc multi-kill clip, reload, and go into a full damage phase on the boss. It's just not a situation that shows up very often. You can get some good damage with multi-kill clip, and if that's your thing, it's not bad. And it's worth mentioning that this weapon will roll with 2 perks in the final column if you've upgraded your season pass far enough. So if you were to get multi-kill clip in this category as well, not bad, and you might mess around with it, but I would definitely recommend high impact reserves. So that's going to be it for the PvE roll. I will recap this at the end of the video, but let's move on to what I think would be a solid PvP roll. So we're going to kind of flip the script a little bit, because when it comes to PvP, things are a lot different than they would be in a PvE scenario. As far as PvP goes on a sniper rifle, you're pretty much going to want to go for max range and anything that can help that out in any way. We don't have access again to a lot of damage dealing perks, which you don't really need on a sniper rifle. If you're landing your headshots, you're gonna get your kills. This is a rapid fire sniper rifle, so it's not the greatest for taking down like supers inside of the Crucible, and it's gonna take 3 body shots to kill a normal Guardian in most situations because it's a rapid fire frame. But there are some really cool rolls that we can get on this that make it a pretty good contender for the Crucible. So again, starting in that first column, I would recommend going with something like Hammer Forge Rifling for that straight +10 to range, even going full bore if you're on PC. I wouldn't recommend this on controller because it can get a little unwieldy when you lose the handling and the stability just to get +15 range, but it's not a bad option on PC that the recoil is a little bit easier to control. There's a few other options that will give us a little bit more range, and we really want to try and go for that maximum range on our barrel for PvP, mainly because these rapid fire frames already have a shorter range than all the other archetypes of snipers in the game. When it comes to the second column, the magazine perks, we have a couple really cool options, and this being an Ikelos weapon, it has access to a very unique perk known as Seraph Rounds. And if you guys are unaware, Seraph Rounds sort of works like the pre-nerf Ricochet rounds. If you didn't know, back in the day, Ricochet rounds actually had a hidden range buff inside of it. You couldn't see it on LiQWYD, you couldn't see it on the stats on a gun, but testing it in game, it would actually have a further range than any other magazine perk, and Seraph Rounds carries that on as well. It does the same thing. It also makes your rounds over penetrate targets and bounce off of walls, but it gives you that extra range as well. So if you get Seraph Rounds, understand there is that hidden benefit, so it's definitely good to have. The next option I would recommend would of course be accurized rounds, which just gives you that flat +10 to range. Not a bad option at all. You're going to want to go for one of those two to get that maximum range possible. As far as the third column, in my mind, looking at these, there's really only one option, and that would be moving target. Some people really sleep on this perk and really underestimate it, but I snipe a lot inside of Crucible, and my favorite sniper, my beloved, has a moving target snapshot roll that I swear by. Moving target is actually quantifiable in the sense that it gives you +10 aim assist at all times on your sniper rifle. It's a just flat +10 aim assist, and it gives you a bonus strafe speed while you're ADSing. So moving target is a very solid perk. In this column, it's probably the only one worth picking up for PvP, so definitely go for moving target. You could get Feeding Frenzy, being that it is a rapid fire frame. You might be able to get a few quick headshots or a few quick kills and take advantage of a faster reload, but that's going to be, I'm going to leave that up to personal preference. I would recommend moving target. Looking at the fourth column, the fourth and final column, we have a choice to make really, and it's going to be up to you. Some people cannot live without quick draw. This sniper has access to quick draw in this final column, and in a PvP environment, it's very hard to beat quick draw. You can pull this thing out instantly, scope down sights, and pop a shot off very quickly. And the combination of moving target and quick draw is very solid. But high impact reserves again bring some interesting implications into the PvP sandbox. Being that you spawn with only 2 bullets in your sniper magazine, high impact reserves is active right from the start, and it makes it so you can 2-shot body shot any Guardian inside of the Crucible. Without high impact reserves, that's going to be 3-shot body shot to kill, but with it, it drops it down to 2-shot body shot. So if that's worth it to you, not a bad option to have. I would personally, again, recommend quick draw because it's just hard to beat inside of the Crucible. Quick draw moving target will be a very snappy, very reliable sniper rifle inside of the Crucible. So you guys sticking with me? I know it's been a lot of talking going over this sniper. It's a very unique weapon that has access to some really cool perks, and it's very versatile depending on the roles that you want to go after. I want to give a quick recap for both PvE and PvP, and I know I haven't mentioned Masterworks yet. I will talk about them here. Again, so for the PvE God roll, in my mind, you would want small bore or polygonal rifling in the first column to maximize that stability. In the second column, you're going to want a tactical mag would be perfect, but be happy with a pended mag or extended mag. Anything that puts you at that 7-round maximum in your magazine is what you're going to want for PvE. In the third column, you're going to want either 4th times the charm or triple tap. Both of these are solid options. 4th times the charm is just going to give you that additional bullet at the end. You can have 11 shots with 4th times, a maximum of 10 shots with triple tap. So if you get either one of those, definitely be happy. They are both solid options. In the 4th column, in my mind, there's only one option for PvE, and that again is going to be high impact reserves because of the synergy it has with things like triple tap and 4th times the charm. You can get some really solid DPS and really good damage output if you can manage your reloads properly. And as far as the masterwork goes for a PvE, I would, of course, again, for terms of DPS, you're going to want to go with a reload speed masterwork so you can reload this thing as quick as possible and get back to DPSing. This is going to vary depending on the class that you play. If you play on Hunter, something that has access to instant reloads, you might not need that reload speed masterwork. You might go for something like stability, or you may go for max range. It's really, in my mind, I love masterworks and people debate them a lot, but in my mind, it's a personal preference. It's your own little touch on the weapon, and I would be happy with any of them. Range, stability, or reload speed would be okay. Even handling wouldn't be that bad, but I would say reload speed for optimal DPS purposes. Moving on to the PvP God roll and what I would recommend, I would go with, in the first column, you're going to want either hammer forged rifling or full bore. Hammer forged, I would recommend more so for controller users because it doesn't have that penalty to stability or handling. Full bore, I would definitely recommend to my PC players just to get that full max range and go full send with it. And that's really your best options. I mean, you could get more of a stable roll if that's what you're into, but I'm going to leave that to your discretion. In the second column, you're going to want either Seraph rounds or Accurized rounds. Both of these are going to give you extra range. And like I said, Seraph rounds, again, has that hidden extra range underneath. It doesn't show up on your stats, doesn't show up in your weapons, but believe me, it is there. So Seraph rounds or Accurized is what you're going to look for. In the third column for PvP, you're going to want moving target. All day long, moving target, plus 10 aim assist. It's going to make this thing feel more consistent, make your flicks more reliable, and make it so you can move faster while ADSing, and it's just all around a very solid perk. If you haven't tried a sniper with this on it, I strongly recommend it. In the fourth and final column for PvP, I'm going to recommend Quick Draw. Like I said, you just can't beat being able to have your sniper rifle out on demand whenever you need it. Quick Draw is a top tier perk on any PvP weapon that you're going after, and it's awesome that it's present on this weapon. Alternatively, you could go with high impact reserves to get that 2-shot body shot if you want to go for something like that. But in my mind, just hit your headshots and stop going for cheesy stuff. Get your quick draw on and work on your aim, get those headshots going. But high impact reserves, if you have it, definitely be happy with it. Box breathing is not worth it. It's really not. It's not going to help a rapid fire frame take out a super or do anything at all. Not worth it. High impact reserves or quick draw. As far as a masterwork for PvP, of course, I'm going to recommend range. You're going to want max range. That helps your aim assist cone go out further. It helps the bullets travel further, makes it easier to land far off shots. You definitely want max range on this weapon for PvP. So I know that's a lot of talking. I hope I explained it well enough for you guys. This is a very cool and unique new sniper rifle in the game. Definitely want to get your hands on a solid roll before the next season, because things like Mountaintop, all these staples that we have for PvE are going away, and you're going to want something like this that's going to help you have solid DPS come the next expansion. So I hope you'll be able to get your hands on these. Again, remember, they are farmable from Umbral Engram, so it's very easy to lock down a good roll on one of these. Let me know what you guys are getting your hands on, what you're liking about this gun, and if you enjoyed the video. This is my first God roll weapon guide. I thought I'd just give it a shot because I found this weapon particularly interesting. I'm going to try and do more videos like this in the future, so your feedback is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate your time. Take care and good luck hunting those God rolls.